I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And just like that, week 6 of the National Football League. Moments away from kicking off. Just feels like we left Everbank Stadium, right, to wrap up week 5. And here we are, week 6, Thursday night football. Philadelphia, the New York Football Giants, the NFC East on display tonight. Week 6 kicks off in about 15 minutes. We will keep you updated as the National Football League rolls in to the month of October. And with that, a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. And what a jam-packed show we have tonight. Absolutely jam-packed. Obviously, the trade one night ago. Tyson Campbell to Cleveland, Greg Newsome to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sure a lot of you, like me, knew the name Greg Newsome, did not know a lot about the person Greg Newsome. So we're going to go to Cleveland. Coming up here in about 20, 25 minutes or so. My guy when it comes to the Cleveland Browns is Scott Petrak of BrownZone.com. He's covered the Browns for years, and we're going to find out about Greg Newsome. We're also going to find out how potentially Tyson Campbell fits into the future plans of the Cleveland Browns. So Scott Petrak of BrownZone.com joins me in about 20 minutes or so. Also, what does the Greg Newsome trade mean for the Jaguars salary cap moving down the road? Obviously, Devin Lloyd set to become a free agent. Travis Etienne set to become a free agent. Trayvon Walker still needs a contract extension. And, oh, by the way, now Greg Newsome. Is this a 12-game rental? Because he is also scheduled to become a free agent. What does the offloading of Tyson Campbell's contract mean for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Well, when you have contract questions in the world of sports, the best place for me to go to is Spot Track. Mike Giannetti is the founder of Spot Track, does a terrific job, and he'll basically break it down from top to bottom, what it means to offload Tyson Campbell's contract, how much it will cost to bring Devin Lloyd back, what about Travis Etienne's future, what's the Trayvon Walker contract going to look like, what's a potential Greg Newsome contract going to look like. Jaguar fans, I think you will find that a very interesting conversation with the co-founder of Spot Track, Mike Giannetti. That comes up tonight. Also, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts will join me to preview the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, by the way, Seattle does come here on Sunday, right? In fact, the Seahawks are getting on an airplane tomorrow. They're one of those teams that travels in a couple of days early. Thank you, Denmark. So Seattle will be on a plane tomorrow. They will be here Saturday. And, of course, Sunday, 1 o'clock, you will hear Jacksonville, Seattle right here on 1010XL. So we will go out to the great Northwest. Curtis Crabtree is my guy when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. He's with Fox 13 Television out there in Seattle, and we will get the Seahawk perspective on this matchup Sunday. So we are absolutely jam-packed, and I forgot to even mention this in the next segment. How about Buster Brown? I was down in the Jaguar locker room earlier on, had the opportunity to catch up with Monteric Buster Brown, who now will have an increased role, right, with the departure of Tyson Campbell. So we will talk with Buster Brown about this Seattle game coming up on Sunday. So we're with you till 10 o'clock. We're jam-packed. As always, Jacksonville, we are certainly happy you have decided to spend part of your Thursday evening with us. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
James Gladstone, ladies and gentlemen. The key word in his name is stone, as in stones. This is a guy that is the general manager of a 4-1 football team. This is a guy who is the general manager of maybe the biggest surprise in the NFL to date. And despite that fact, which is very real, this is a guy that saw an opportunity to upgrade, saw an opportunity for financial flexibility in the future, and he took it. 4-1 teams. Things are going well. Now let's trade our starting corner that makes $76 million a year. What did James Gladstone say when he arrived here? I'm paraphrasing, but essentially it was something along the lines of, if there is a chance to be bold, we are going to do it. Well, that was a bold move by one of the youngest general managers in the National Football League last night. And James Gladstone has made a lot of bold moves. Releasing Gabe Davis, right? Eating all that contract. Devin Duvernay, Ronald Darby, trading Christian Kirk to a division rival, releasing Evan Ingram, now trading Tyson Campbell. I'm not going to argue with the guy because the guy has been phenomenal in basically every move he has made. Liam Cohen, to me right now, would be coach of the year in the NFL 5 weeks in. And we have certainly heaped a lot of praise on him and will continue to do so. But last night was certainly a reminder of our intangibly rich, ecosystem-friendly general manager down there that this is a 3-person deal. It's not only Liam. It's not only James. You factor Baselli in there as well. What a job those 3 guys have done. Cohen on the field, Gladstone making moves, Baselli kind of all-encompassing. Spectacular vision from all 3 guys. To take a team that was 5-18 in their previous 23 games before their arrival, and to now have them 4-1, be one of the talks of the National Football League, and to be so bold that even after starting 4-1, you're going to trade your $76 million starting cornerback. Whew. Again, stones from James Gladstone. Will it work? Yet to be seen. But don't ever think you're not going to do something to improve this football team. Because James Gladstone is living proof that it doesn't matter how well the team has started. If he sees an opportunity to do something, he is going to be bold and he is going to do it. Which is exactly what he did by trading away Tyson Campbell one night ago. As far as Jacksonville and Seattle, this is the final Hacker After Dark. Until that game, of course, tomorrow night, Hacker After Dark turns into the Friday Night Lights postgame. I will be with you for the 5th quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Seahawks go final on Sunday evening. Here is my thought on the game. Crazy week, right? It was just 72 hours ago. We were in the midst of a thriller at Everbank Stadium between the Jaguars and the Chiefs. And now here we are, Seattle's flying into town tomorrow. And because of that fact, if you look up, I don't even want to call it a trap game because Seattle's good, right? They're 3-2. Because you will back-to-back wins, Houston, San Francisco, Kansas City. Next week, you're in London at Wembley against Gladstone and Cohen's former team in the LA Rams. And sandwiched right in the middle of all that is this game against the Seattle Seahawks. You only see them once every 4 years. By no means is it a rival. You've only played Seattle, 7-8 times in franchise history? I was so ready to pick the Seattle Seahawks. I'm 3-1. No, actually, wait a minute. I'm 4-1 in my picks for Jacksonville this year. The only game I missed, Jacksonville beat San Francisco. I picked the 49ers. The other 4 contests, I picked Jacksonville to beat Carolina, picked them to beat Houston, picked them to beat KC, and picked them to lose to Cincinnati. So I'm 4 check marks, 1 X on my thoughts on the Jaguars. And I was so ready to pick the Seattle Seahawks. I would have picked Seattle probably up until 10:15 last night. But this eye-opening move from James Gladstone, trading away Tyson Campbell, showing that locker room that this team wants to win now, regardless of contracts, regardless of where you were drafted. This is about winning now. That is the message that was sent one night ago. I think that's going to center everybody for this game. Seattle's also got some injuries defensively. It looks like they'll be without 2 or even 3 of their defensive starters for Sunday. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a work of art. And Seattle has to travel 3,000 miles. But because of the trade last night, I've kind of flipped my tune on this one. Give me Jacksonville 27, Seattle 19. I think the Jaguars find a way to get it done at Everbank Stadium. And I think they will move to 5-1 on the year in what has been the best start for Jaguar football in 18 years, going all the way back to 2007. More on the Jaguars and the Seahawks. I was in the Jaguar locker room earlier on, had the opportunity to catch up with Monteric, Buster Brown. His role certainly will expand now, you would think, with the departure of Tyson Campbell. Let's talk about the 4-1 start. What's different in that locker room this year? Again, Buster's been here for a couple of years. What is the noticeable difference? And we'll get a thought from him on Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. We'll go inside the Jaguar locker room next on a Thursday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Number 9 opens up his teal and black bag of memories.
Let's go, Googans. Let's go, Googans.
David Garrard joins Mike and Fat Tony on Jaguars Today. Mondays on 1010XL. Restored by Resto Pros of Northeast Florida.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through October 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 9th, 1996, 12-year-old Jeffrey Mayer reached over the Yankee Stadium wall to pull in a Derek Jeter home run in Game 1 of the ALCS. The Yankees would go on to win the World Series.
These days, guys who go engagement ring shopping have a really good idea of what she wants.
I was looking for something very specific. My wife shared some notes with me with what she was looking for.
Meet Jacksonville's Richard Skinner.
I did some research online. I called around the city. I shopped at other stores.
But Richard found the best deal, the best ring, the best customer service at locally owned Beard's Diamonds.
We did shop around that stone and that particular setup with different jewelers, and Beard's was able to come in significantly lower. It was a no-brainer.
But way more than the price, it was truly a beautiful ring in a custom setting with a hand-picked, large, dazzling emerald-cut diamond. Literally breathtaking.
Oh, yeah. When she saw it, she couldn't talk for about 30 minutes. Her eyes got all watery, and her face got red, and almost had a panic attack.
So don't make her settle for a chain store ring. Get something special that reflects her unique style, taste, and personality at Beard's Diamonds.
It's a one-of-a-kind piece.
Beard's Diamonds, Jacksonville's only locally owned direct diamond importer.
I'm the hero.
At the St. John Town Center.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Business owners, listen up. If your plumbing or AC company keeps giving you the runaround, it's time to cut them loose. Call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They already partner with some of the biggest commercial operations in Northeast Florida, like the Jaguars and station operations. Their office team makes invoicing a breeze, and their field techs, top-notch pros. Make the switch today. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Tell them Frank sent you.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,700 five-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until October 31st. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, Hicken here. I've been around the block or two, and Checkmate Coatings is who I'd call for my own place. They're my new MVP for stunning, long-lasting floors.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coatings. No massive overhead means top prices on top-quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios, too.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com today. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminex. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminex knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminex. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminex it. Visit Terminex.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. After Dark on 1010XL.
Till 10 o'clock. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Again, Week 6 of the National Football League kicking off basically right now. Philadelphia and the New York Giants. Jalen Carter of Philadelphia inactive tonight, so we'll see what happens. But clearly the Eagles, the overwhelming favorite against Jackson Dart and the New York Giants. As far as the Jaguars go, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Seattle comes in. I mentioned Seattle's got some injury problems. Here are a couple of those injury problems. A couple of guys have not participated for back-to-back days. Normally, in the NFL, if you do not practice on either Wednesday or Thursday, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to play on Sunday. We already know their tackle, Josh Jones, is going to be out. Mike McDonald, the head coach of Seattle, actually already announced that earlier on. Starting cornerback Devin Witherspoon with a knee did not participate yesterday or today. Probably a pretty good indication he is not going to go. Also, their starting safety Julian Love with a hamstring did not participate yesterday or today. So there you go. Hey, Trevor Lawrence. Hey, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown. Seattle potentially could be without one of their starting corners and one of their starting safeties. And this was a unit that got torched by Baker Mayfield last week and Tampa. And even a couple of other guys. Tarek Wooten, their nickelback, had limited participation with a concussion yesterday and today. I know DeMarcus Lawrence with a quadricep did not practice yesterday. He was back at practice today. And Ernest Jones, their linebacker, was limited today with a shoulder. So they are banged up. As far as Jacksonville goes, it appears Robert Hainsey is not going to go. That would be my guess. He, like the Seattle guys, did not practice yesterday or today, which would mean rookie 7th rounder Jonah Monheim, who came in the fourth quarter of the Kansas City game, would get the start at center. Outside of him, and of course Brenton Strange, who's on IR for the next 4 weeks minimum, everybody else looks pretty good, right? Everybody else at least was limited today in practice. So all things considering, the Jaguars are reasonably healthy 5 weeks in to the year. One of those guys that will be out there on Sunday is Buster Brown, the cornerback who was having a really good offseason. Buster got injured at the very beginning of camp, cost him basically the entirety of training camp, but you're seeing him working his way back in. Had a really nice pass breakup against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City on Monday night. Obviously now with the departure of Tyson Campbell, perhaps an expanded role for Buster Brown. Earlier on this week in the Jaguar locker room, I had the opportunity to catch up with Buster Brown, and here is that conversation right now on Hacker After Dark.
All right, back inside the Jaguar locker room, getting ready for the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. We got Buster Brown with us here on 1010XL. Buster, how we doing?
We're doing great.
How'd practice go out there today?
Man, it went good. We had a good, mental day and, preparing for the Seahawks.
Obviously a win like Monday night over Kansas City. You had a big impact in that game, a huge pass breakup. What does a win like that do for this team moving forward?
Man, it just pushes us and motivates us more. We're not where we want to be, and that was a great team, and it was a great team win for us. So we just want to keep pushing and keep striving, and we're not satisfied.
You've been here a couple of years now. What's different? Why the start this year compared to years past? What's changed in this locker room?
I just feel like the guys we got now, we just trust each other. We believe in each other, and we're gonna fight to the start and to the end. So it's just a trust level.
Do you guys sense the excitement of the fan base? I mean, that stadium was rocking on Monday night. Do you sense the excitement in this city?
Oh yeah, definitely. I felt it driving in, and man, it was just incredible. And I just hope it's like that every game.
There's certainly, just from the outside looking in, seems to be like an underdog mentality in this locker room. Now all of a sudden, a lot of national attention. People are talking about the Jaguars. You guys are a big story. Do you have to worry about that? I mean, the success, or do you still want to be the underdog? Is that the role you guys are still looking to play?
We just steady having that chip on our shoulder. No matter the media attention, we just not paying attention to the outsiders. We just taking it one day at a time and just keeping that chip on our shoulder and just playing the football we know each day.
What about you personally? Obviously, you're healthy now, made a nice play on Monday night. Do you feel like you're playing some of your best football of your career?
I'm just trying to play my role and, when my name's called, be ready for my opportunity and, make plays.
14 takeaways in 5 games. That's crazy. Why is this defense getting the ball so much?
We just run into the ball, run and hit, and, we got great coaches and great players, and, it's just working together, and we just trusting everybody.
As we begin to wrap up, Sam Darnold and the Seahawks come in here on Sunday. I know it's relatively early in the week, but what have you seen from them on film? What concerns you about that offense?
They got a great quarterback, Sam Darnold, great receivers, and Jigba, he's explosive, so, we got to stop those guys early, stop the run game, stop the pass, and, just make them one-dimensional.
Final question. Last home game for 35 days. What's your message to the Jaguar fan base coming out here on Sunday?
Man, let's pack it out again and let's do it. Duval.
Buster, appreciate you.
Thank you.
There you go. Buster Brown with us here on Hacker After Dark. I did do that conversation with him prior to the trading of Tyson Campbell. Ironically enough, Tyson's locker was basically right across the hall from Buster's, and Tyson was sitting there yesterday at 5 o'clock, and now all of a sudden he was at practice with the Cleveland Browns earlier today. Just, again, a crazy, crazy deal how quickly things can change in the National Football League. But you take Sunday, at least this Sunday, as a prime example. All right, Greg Newsome arrived in Jacksonville about 3 or 4 hours ago. Realistically, can he be up to speed enough to make a contribution on Sunday? Well, I can imagine in whatever hotel room he's in. Heck, he's probably still down at the Miller Electric Center right now. But whatever hotel room they're putting Greg Newsome in, they have the playbook in his hand, and he is studying like nobody's business. He will have practice tomorrow. He will have a walkthrough on Saturday, and then the game on Sunday. But you got to be realistic here. How much can you honestly expect Greg Newsome to know in less than 72 hours? You might be able to get, 15, 20 snaps out of him, maybe in situations. But it's going to be Jordan Lewis. It's going to be Travis Hunter. It's going to be Monteric Brown, Jarian Jones. At least for this week, you're probably going to have to pick up the slack a little bit until Newsome kind of gets up to speed with the entire playbook and the game plan. We'll see. From all indications, Greg Newsome's a pretty smart guy, But again, you're giving him less than 72 hours to learn an entire new defense, or at least an entire new game plan, knowing that Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp and that Seattle passing attack is coming in here. So a guy like Buster Brown may have a very big role on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Speaking of Greg Newsome, what about the new Jaguar cornerback? I know the name. I've seen him play. Did I know a lot about him? No. That's why we're going to go to Cleveland. My guy with the Cleveland Browns has been for years, Scott Petrak, brownzone.com. Let's find out about the news Jaguar, Greg Newsome, and just for the sake of doing it, I want to find out how Tyson Campbell is going to fit into the future plans of the Cleveland Browns. Scott Petrak, brownzone.com, joins me next, right here. It's Hacker After Dark.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, johnautomotivejacks.com.
Hey, Hicken here. Cooler weather right around the corner. So are you ready to float happy in the pool? Listen up. This month, Surfside Pools offering 10% on new pool heaters or heater replacements and installation. That's right. Now is the time to upgrade your pool heating system and extend that swimming season for months of extra enjoyment. Only from Surfside Pools, the trusted name for expert pool service. Family owned and operated. Call 246-2666 or visit surfsidepools.net.
License number CPC 044080.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
Hey folks, this is Denny Thompson, and when it comes to protecting my home, I turn to Tyson, the leaders in state-of-the-art home security right here in Jacksonville. Their AI cameras and smart doorbells are top-notch, keeping an eye on what matters most. Whether you're moving in or upgrading, Tyson offers flexible packages, rent or own, with specials on the first 3 years. Ramp up now for the holidays, the perfect gift for you or someone you love. Call Tyson today at 590-7979 for details.
Your home is your sanctuary, where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Guys, are you struggling with obesity and being overweight? Living with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, or heart disease? Encore Research is enrolling men 18 and older in a new paid clinical study. You'll receive study-related care at no cost and may get compensation for time and travel. No insurance required. Take an active step for your health and help advance medical science. See if you qualify at EncoreDocs.com or call 904-732-6669.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of shaving and waxing? At Hello Smooth Men's Spa, laser hair removal permanently reduces hair growth for smooth, stubble-free skin. It's life-changing. With over 400 five-star reviews, they're Jacksonville's trusted choice. Learn more at HelloSmooth.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Seahawks, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. But the big news today is another trade between the Jaguars and the Browns. This time, Tyson Campbell to Cleveland, Greg Newsome to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's talk about it with our guy up in Cleveland, Scott Petrak. BrownZone.com is where you can find his terrific coverage. And Scott's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Scott, how we doing, man?
I'm doing all right. That trade came down late last night.
It did. Yeah, and I texted you about 10:30 last night, but you said you're a night owl, so I didn't feel all that bad about it. All right, first and foremost, Greg Newsome. I know some Cleveland fans up there that I've read don't exactly seem thrilled that he's leaving. What's your thought on Newsome? What are the Jaguars getting here?
Yeah, I think he's a good player. He had some struggles the last couple of years. They asked him to move inside and play in the nickel a bunch and play in the slot a bunch after the emergence of Martin Emerson Jr. But then Emerson blew out an Achilles in training camp, so Newsome went back outside, and he likes playing outside more than, being stuck in the slot most of the time. I think he's a good player. He is a former first-round pick, fellow Northwestern Wildcat, so I appreciate that about him. Smart guy, a lot of energy. I thought he was having his best season this year. So it's a little bit of a surprise. Now, I know the contract's a big part of it. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. He told me in the summer that he would have loved to stay here. The Browns probably got to the point where they decided, okay, he's going to have to make a bunch of money here or, find a replacement. And I think that was probably an impetus for this trade. But I think he's a good player.
There's a lot of people saying that he might not have been the greatest fit for what Schwartz wants to do up there in Cleveland, and maybe Campbell wasn't the greatest fit for what Campanile wants to do down here in Jacksonville. Do you think that played into it from the Cleveland side of things?
You know what? It probably did. I know Schwartz loves the man coverage, but, I talked to Greg Newsome a lot, and, he loved playing man. Maybe the scouts or the personnel people think he's better in zone, and we'll see that. But, he never complained to me about being in man. That was something they pride themselves on. They called themselves, the best cornerback room in the league. Him and Denzel Ward at the top of that. So, I could see that maybe that will help him, but I never got the sense that he felt uncomfortable playing as much man as Schwartz asked him to play.
Scott Petrak is our guy up in Cleveland. BrownZone.com is where you find his work, talking about Greg Newsome, the newest Jacksonville Jaguar. Scott, as far as this year, I know you talked about it briefly. How has Newsome performed 5 weeks in? And I heard there might be a hamstring issue right now. Where is he at health-wise?
Yeah, all these weeks run together, right? So it was last week. They made the trip to London. He showed up on the injury report with a hamstring. Had been listed as questionable, but wound up playing all games. So, he was probably limited yesterday in practice. But, it doesn't feel like something that's going to keep him out. It didn't keep him out last week. He had surgery on a torn hamstring before training camp in 2024 that sidelined him for the preseason. Then he came back week 1. And when I talked to him this year, kind of reflecting on the 2024 season, he thought not being there for training camp in the preseason really affected his play during that season because he didn't get those reps. He didn't get the practice reps. All of a sudden week 1, he's going against, big time playing. That was the Cowboys. He was going against CeeDee Lamb, and he hadn't, spent any time or a lot of time practicing or playing in the preseason. He felt much healthier this year. Missed a little time with a shoulder injury, but, was fine for week 1. So, like I said, I think this is probably as well as he's played, at least since he was a rookie. And I attribute a lot of that to the health and being always on the outside as opposed to bouncing back and forth the outside into the slot. But, yeah, I think, he's a first-round pick, good player. It came down to, I think some Browns fans, it's weird because, Denzel Ward has been really good on the other side. So when Newsome would struggle, and there were some struggles in 23 and 24. I think he was a popular target for criticism, but he's always been a starting caliber corner in this league, and I think this season he's played even above that.
Well, he's already gone up against Jamar Chase in week 1. I got a buddy that's a diehard Viking fan. He told me, and again, I'll ask you, you obviously know more than I do, that Newsome did a pretty solid job against Justin Jefferson last week in London.
Yeah, he did. There were some one-on-one plays that he made. I think he got an interference call. But yeah, they took some shots at him, and I thought Greg Newsome held up well. The biggest play to Jefferson was in the zone, and Newsome wasn't around that play. And then on the last winning touchdown drive for the Vikings, Jefferson went up and over Denzel Ward, so it wasn't even on Newsome. So, and either in the winning touchdown wasn't against Newsome either. So yeah, I think he's played well this year. He's a little bit of a lightning rod because he likes to celebrate everything. That's just his personality. So there'll be an incompletion, and whether or not he had anything to do with it, he'll start dancing. And that's how the Browns kind of want to play. They want that bravado. That's a Jim Schwartz thing. But some fans would be aggravated when, oh my gosh, the Browns are losing and he's out there celebrating an incompletion in the fourth quarter. But he's just got a really good energy about him. I think the media's going to love him down there. He's a great talker, a go-to guy in there.
Couple of more. Scott Petrak, brownzone.com. He's our guy up in Cleveland when it comes to the Browns. From your side of things, you get Tyson Campbell. What's been the reaction so far of Tyson Campbell's arrival?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a why making this move, right now. The Browns feel like they're in a roster transition. They're 1-4. Why this move at this time? But if Campbell truly is a better man corner than Greg Newsome, and, I talked to somebody in the organization, they think Campbell's a better player than Newsome. That's why they made this trade. The contract factors into it. They have now Campbell's under contract through 2027. There's an out if they don't like him after, I think, or maybe it's through 2028, and there's an out after 26. But I think the contract certainty there helps, as opposed to Newsome, who, if they wanted to keep, is their number 2 corner. They're going to have to pay pretty big. And if you don't have, if you don't get that worked out, then all of a sudden you got to go find a corner when the Browns have a lot of other needs. So, the timing seems weird, right? 4 weeks before the trade deadline, the Browns had just traded Joe Flacco the day before, which was a surprise. But I think it's all, okay, here's what they believe can be an upgrade, and there's more contract certainty with him.
Scott, as we begin to wrap up, again, just searching some Cleveland Brown message boards and social media, at least the fan base's opinion is, all right, if you were going to trade Newsome, they didn't like it, but that's fine. But what I was reading was, well, why do you do it 4 weeks before the deadline? Could you have potentially gotten more for Newsome had you waited closer to the deadline? What's your thought there?
Well, my first thought is you got to be careful going on social media and those message boards, buddy. You can get caught in there.
Yeah, I'll try and just get a flavor of what's going on up there.
No, I'm just messing with you. I get that thought process, but I don't know if Greg Newsome was going to bring you back more than a starting corner, right? That's what the Browns believe they have, and they believe they have their number 2 corner opposite Denzel Ward for the next however many years, right? Is it next 1.5 years? Is it the next 3.5 years? Whatever it winds up being, they feel they found that person in Tyson Campbell. And, if you wait 4 weeks, maybe there's a Super Bowl contender that loses a corner, but they're not giving you a starting cornerback. I'll tell you that, right? Because they're looking for a corner. Are you getting a first rounder? I don't think you're getting a first rounder for a guy that's, in the final year of his contract. So I don't think that the Browns would have done better. Now, maybe I could be proved wrong. We'll see how the trade market works out in 4 weeks. But I don't think that would be the biggest issue with this deal.
Browns loading up on former Jaguars, Cam Robinson, a week and a half or so ago, and now Tyson Campbell. All right, obviously this is not the first time the Browns and the Jaguars have done business. We remember draft night and how crazy that was. How, frustrated are Cleveland fans? They get Jacksonville's first-round pick, and Jacksonville decides to be really good this year.
Yeah, that's that is a bone of contention among fans. I know that much. There was a lot of hope and I think belief among Browns fans that, the Browns could have 2 top 10 picks or, 1 top 5 pick, and it was going to be the Jaguars pick. It certainly doesn't look that way after 5 weeks. There's some consternation. I would guess the guys making the trades too probably didn't expect the Jaguars to start off 4-1, right? I mean, Andrew Berry, I'm sure he had hopes it would be a high pick. So I'm sure the Browns are hoping that things go south for the Jaguars. But, right now it looks like the Browns are going to have 1 high pick next year, and it's going to be their own. And then who knows where Jacksonville's lines up being.
Last question, out of curiosity. We talk so much about Mason Graham here in Jacksonville leading up to the draft. He obviously goes to Cleveland. How has he been 5 weeks in?
Yeah, he's good. Solid start. Nothing crazy. I think he has a half a sack, but he's showing up. He's in the backfield. He's part of, to this point, and I get it, it's only been 5 games, but a really strong rookie class for the Browns. They like him. He's a starter. He's out there a ton of snaps. So, I don't know if he's been a game wrecker yet, but the early returns are positive.
Scott Petrak, our guy up in Cleveland, brownzone.com is where you find his work. Who knows? There's still 4 weeks before the deadline. Maybe Andrew Berry and James Gladstone will get together for a 3rd time this football season, pull off something else. If that's the case, Scott, we'll be sure and dial your phone again. Thank you, as always, for joining us.
Sure thing.
There you go, Scott Petrak, brownzone.com. He's been my guy up in Cleveland for years. And just a little bit of an idea about Greg Newsome. Obviously, Scott is a fan of Greg Newsome. Personally, it seems like he said he's a great interview, and he said he likes him, always got along with him. And was it a scheme fit? Was it a situation where they thought they would not be able to re-sign him? You heard Scott say that there's at least somebody in the Cleveland Browns organization that told him that they just think Tyson Campbell is a better football player. I would disagree with that, but I can see the sentiment from the Cleveland side of things. But that gives you a little info on Greg Newsome. What does the Greg Newsome contract mean, or the acquisition mean, for the salary cap moving forward? Tyson Campbell's money is gone, kind of. There will be a dead money hit, a dead cap hit next year. Of course, the Jaguars have Devin Lloyd to figure out. They got an extension for Trayvon Walker to figure out. They got potentially Travis Etienne to figure out. And now they have Greg Newsome to figure out. What does the trade mean when it comes to the salary cap? Well, the website to go to discuss all those things, of course, is Spot Track. And the co-founder of Spot Track, Mike Giannetti, is going to join us coming up here in less than 5 minutes to kind of break down every aspect of the deal and what it means for Jacksonville moving forward when it comes to Devin Lloyd's future, Travis Etienne's future, etc. with the Jaguar salary cap. I do want to let you know as well, surprise on Thursday Night Football. Now, it's very early. We're basically only at the halfway point of the first quarter. But how about the New York Football Giants? 13-3 over Philadelphia. The Eagles are driving. They're in the Giants' red zone. But a couple of touchdowns from the Giants. Jackson Dart ran one in, and he threw one to Wan'Dale Robinson. Eagles in the red zone, but they're down 13-3 as we are about at the 4.5-minute stage of the first quarter. Mike Giannetti, co-founder of Spot Track. What is the Greg Newsome trade? What does the Tyson Campbell trade mean to Jacksonville's cap moving forward? Jaguar fans, you're going to want to hear this, and it's next right here on Hacker After Dark.
It's a coast-to-coast clash as the Bluebirds get their feathers ruffled under the Teal Thunder. This time, we're back at the bank against one of the NFC's best. Jaguars Seahawks, Sunday at 1. It's a no-fly zone at the bank on the home of the Jaguars. 1010 XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab Crab House.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Sildana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Observe 10-10 Day and get ready for the football weekend as the Frangie Show broadcasts live for happy hour at Big Dog Sports Restaurant in Orange Park. This Friday from 4 to 6. Help Big Dog celebrate 20 years of the best wings in town.
It's time for the Plumbing 411 from Superior Plumbing and Pipeline. Clogged drains happen when grease, soap, hair, and debris build up over time. Even tree roots can invade your pipes. All this leads to the annoying water pooling in your sink or tub. Superior Plumbing and Pipeline has the tools and know-how to clear stubborn clogs and keep them from coming back. Don't ignore a slow drain. It could lead to bigger problems. Make the superior choice when your drains are clogged and learn more at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bolt City named 904 Gutters with a Z the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Seahawks, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Boy, the Jaguars making some big news last night. Tyson Campbell to Cleveland, Greg Newsome to Jacksonville. What does that mean? And maybe as importantly, what does that mean for the financial flexibility that the Jaguars may now have in the future? Let's talk about all of it with Mike Giannetti. He is the founder of SpotTrack. SpotTrack is, of course, the website to go to for contracts in the world of sports. And Mike is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, appreciate you joining me on short notice, man. How are you?
My pleasure. Doing well. This is a big one.
There's no doubt about it. Just first and foremost, your initial reaction when you saw Newsome to Jacksonville and Campbell to Cleveland.
Yeah, my first reaction was not only are we getting player for player, we're getting position for position. That's kind of rare in this league. That's a basketball trade. So it's a nice to see a team kind of identify that they need to upgrade this specific position, and found a partner that was looking to do a little bit of the same with some different financial implications. It's kind of a rare unicorn NFL move, especially in season here.
There's no doubt the website you co-founded in SpotTrack is the website to go to when trades like this happen. All right, so the Jaguars trade Tyson Campbell to Cleveland. What will that mean as far as the big contract Campbell signed here in Jacksonville last year?
Yeah, well, they're certainly giving up on a lot of cash, unfortunately, right? They paid him almost $18 million last season in 2024, and he walks out the door having been paid about $13.5 million cash in 2025 because of the structure of this contract. And from a cap perspective, Ryan, that means about 6.8 this year and $19.5 million on the cap next year for Jacksonville. So it's not a simple move for them to make in terms of what the businesses and the finances look like, but they are foreboding next year's basically $18 million full guarantee for 2026 into a situation with Newsome where he is a pending UFA. So if you're reading the tea leaves on this, it looks financially like they were willing to give a little cash away this year to free up some options next year and improve at the cornerback position immediately, maybe for an all-in in 2025.
So, long story short, for those of us that are third grade level when it comes to this sort of thing, the Jaguars are going to eat a little bit of cash in the short term to free up more cash in the long term. Is that accurate?
At least today, right? I mean, if they're looking to sign Newsome long term here after this, obviously that paycheck's going to be even more so than what Tyson Campbell was deserving of, because Newsome's got a higher ceiling, and I think he's playing better ball right now. But yeah, absolutely, you're foregoing 3 years of contract from Tyson Campbell for a pending UFA in Newsome, and in doing so, you're taking about an $8 million cap bath this year specifically.
Again, Mike Giannetti, the co-founder of Spot Track, with us here on 1010XL. And that's an interesting part of this, because the thought here in Jacksonville, and we'll get to Devin Lloyd and Trayvon Walker, is that, all right, you free up this cash for maybe one or even both of those guys, but you don't factor into the equation that Newsome is also a pending free agent. And if he comes in here and does a good job in the last 12 weeks, certainly the Jaguars will want to re-sign a very good corner.
No question, and I think it's a good problem to have. My guess is they identified that Campbell was no longer really a long-term fit for them, especially with this new regime. Those kind of decisions are being made left and right. So in season, generally that move doesn't get made, but when you find a situation like Cleveland where they're starting to sell off pieces left and right themselves, this is a really nice, at least, shot in the dark for the next 13 weeks, and then what could turn into a very expensive but worthwhile extension next March.
Now, the Jaguars are 4-1. Everybody's focused on this year, and with good reason. They're one of the talks of the NFL. But if you rewind the clock back to this offseason, the Jaguars are already eating a lot of cap money this year, dead money, for the likes of Gabe Davis and Duvernay and Darby and all these guys that they released. How does the Jaguars cap look heading into this offseason, Mike?
Yeah, they're fourth in dead cap for 2025, so you're not wrong. It was about an 8 or 9 player purge the second the new regime got involved here. So they're eating a lot of it right now this year. There's going to be more pain with that next year, unfortunately, and they've already got upwards of $42 million of dead cap allocated to 2026. But it's a salary cap that should rise to $300 million next year. So you're not breaking the bank cap-wise on Trevor Lawrence yet, or even on Josh Hines yet. So there's time to do this, there's room to do this, and there's space to do this. But you're talking about now 3 potential big fish in Walker, Lloyd, and Newsome needing extensions next season. So it does get a bit more complicated.
A couple of more from Mike Giannetti, the co-founder of Spot Track. All right, let's begin with Trayvon Walker. Some were surprised that did not get done last offseason. This trading of Tyson Campbell, what does that potentially do to Trayvon Walker's future here?
Certainly opens the door. Okay, he has been eligible this whole offseason, but this was more about replacing than adding or even extending this past offseason. There was just a lot of purge like we talked about. So I understand that the waiting game is in place, but he's done at least enough initially to get the conversation rolling for next offseason. And understand that it may not be a number 1 overall ceiling that he's playing for anymore, but certainly long-term 2-3 year guarantees upwards of around $20 million a year. I'd put Greg Rousseau's extension in Buffalo as a really nice comp for this going forward. It was a very similar situation in Buffalo with Rousseau. Kind of took a minute for him to get going, rounded into form, and he produced enough to be a worthwhile 3-year guarantee. So I think that contract's the one to watch, and we'll see what the next 13 weeks looks like.
The interesting subplot in all of this is that they did not pick up the 5th-year option on Devin Lloyd, and now he has decided to become one of the best linebackers in the National Football League. So how complicated could the Devin Lloyd situation be?
Well, I'm going to poke some holes in the 5th-year option part of it, because unfortunately that linebacker option is all linebackers, right? So it's not an edge defender versus an off-ball linebacker situation. So it's priced for any linebacker that exists in football. So at that point in time, it didn't make financial sense to lock him into $8.8 million fully guaranteed next season, both for production and for financial reasons. But obviously, at least to start 2025, he has put himself in a situation where now we're talking about Roquan Smith numbers, right? The $20 million per year mark. I don't think we get to that point, and certainly there's time for him to come back down to earth a little bit here. But if he is a formidable center of the defense leader, captain type player, you're certainly talking about 16, 18 million per year going forward, at least on a 2 or 3 year guarantee. So would they have liked to have the 5th-year option back? Maybe, but Hindsight is 2020, and I think they're going to do just fine in this.
Final moments, Mike Giannetti, the co-founder of Spot Track, and I'll add one more name into the mix, is Travis Etienne. He is also scheduled to become a free agent at the end of the year. Etienne, I believe, is still in the top 5 of rushing 5 weeks into the year. Now he's, 5 years for a running back. We kind of know that running backs, when they get into their late 20s, you kind of worry about giving them long-term deals. But what is your thought on Etienne? I believe he's still only 25 or 26 right now.
Yeah, the age is on his side. I didn't think this one had a chance heading into 2025 just because of the up and down inconsistencies with the injuries. But there's a world where this is certainly, another 2-year guarantee for him going forward. And he's not really a 5-tool running back, right? He's not one of these guys that's going to go out there and catch 7 balls along with, having 29 touches total. He's not a big yards from scrimmage guy. So even mathematically, this is not a $15 million running back. Having said that, right, would he accept something in the world of, what Stevenson in New England and those kind of players at about $9 million per year might be his ceiling? If that's the case, I think this is something you're looking at pretty hard if you're Liam Cohen and this Jaguars offense to keep him consistent with Trevor Lawrence, which seems to be clicking right now. And like I said, if it's only a 2-year guarantee at maybe $15 million max over the next 2, I think that's worthwhile for this Jacksonville offense.
Mike, as we wrap up, understanding you're not a fortune teller, but you're certainly much more involved in this space than anybody listening right now. If the Jaguar fan base in a perfect world wanted to re-sign Etienne, Lloyd, Newsome, and extend Walker, could they get all of that done this offseason?
Oh, no question. Yeah. They're going to have to start playing like the big boys, right? Like the Buffalo and the Kansas Cities and the Philadelphia Eagles of the world. So the structures of the contracts might have to change a little bit to push them down the road versus, the recent 4 or 5 years of Balky that kind of front-loaded things from his San Francisco days. So the structures will change. It'll look a little bit more like the modern NFL contract. And then you're starting to fit in a lot more bodies at one time, which they'll need. But like I said, the Lawrence contract looks good for 2026 from a cap perspective. And many of these big deals on the books haven't really popped yet in terms of their major cap hits. So it's a good time to be aggressive for Jacksonville next March.
Mike, this is what you do, man. This is your line of work. I'm just curious, your thoughts on 34-year-old James Gladstone and the job he's done as the general manager here with all these trades and everything he's accomplished to this point.
It's an A. I mean, I don't know how you look at it any other way. You didn't waste time subtracting this offseason, and a lot of that wasn't him. I understand that, but he's certainly in the conversation there for it. So you're taking your hits right now. You're winning ball games while you're taking those hits financially, and now you're aggressively starting to put yourself out there on the map and build these connections with other organizations so that you can continue to grow. Right. So that's all you can ask for from a year one GM, regardless of his experience and his age. It's a heck of a start. Obviously, there's going to be some bumps in the road here, but it looks pretty good out of the gate. But you're not wrong. It's going to be a big February and March for him coming up to keep this trip together and maybe even make it bigger.
Mike Giannetti, the co-founder of Spot Track. Mike, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Spot Track and what you guys offer.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's a multi-sport financial system now. So it's we've got about 16 or 17 sports leagues that we're tracking all the salaries and contracts and cap hits and projections for going forward. So it is NFL trade season, of course. We've got a trade machine. You can go and mock these trades up yourself and see how all the numbers work in terms of the money. And we're obviously tracking everything day by day here. So appreciate it.
Mike, I know how busy you are, man. Again, thank you for joining us on short notice, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
My pleasure.
When it comes to your favorite football team, John Osher is oh so sure to find the inside insight to keep you up to date. Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served up by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Get ready. Week 6 of the NFL season is officially here. Your Jacksonville Jaguars are gearing up to go head-to-head with the Seattle Seahawks in our crucial catch game dedicated to the fight against cancer. Join us October 12th at Everbank Stadium as we raise awareness through early detection, risk reduction, and education. Lock in your tickets now at jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts.
And at 1010XL.com.
Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a fight for the last slice of pizza? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Don't ghost your carpet this fall. Hicken here. Right now, you can get your entire home zero resified from Jacksonville's Ultimate Carpet Cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 plus a free haul for Halloween. Get it? There's something scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home. It's in your air ducts. This month, take 50% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com. Ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. After dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, we will go out to Seattle. My guy, when it comes to the Seahawks, Curtis Crabtree of Fox 13 in Seattle. We will get the Seahawks perspective on this matchup on Sunday here at Everbank Stadium. And coming up in less than 15 minutes, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark during the season, as we'll not only recap Kansas City, we'll talk about the Tyson Campbell trade, and we will preview Seattle with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. I will tell you that it was 13-3. The Giants had an early lead over Philadelphia. That is now gone. Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert made it 13-10, and Philadelphia has now driven it inside the Giants' 5-yard line. It is 4th and inches. They're about to line up for a tush push, if you will, so we'll see what happens. But Philly knocking on the doorstep of the end zone. They trail 13-10 midway through the second quarter. I want to get in quickly to a little college ball. Before we do that, though, I thought Mike Giannetti had some really interesting points, the co-founder of Spot Track. Again, he said it's very doable this offseason to re-sign Devin Lloyd, to re-sign Travis Etienne, to re-sign Greg Newsome, assuming you like what you see from the 12 games he'll be here, at least in the regular season, and to extend Trayvon Walker. Those are going to be the four big pillars of the offseason. You have the franchise tag at your disposal if you need it for either Newsome, Lloyd, or Etienne. But there's going to be dead money with Campbell, but you're going to have cap flexibility down the road. So again, if they think Newsome's a better player than Campbell, and that allows them to be flexible with their finances down the road, that's a good job by James Gladstone. There is absolutely no question about that. Again, we'll get right back into it with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. He comes up in less than 15 minutes. Quickly to the world of college football. Florida and Texas A&M. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Kyle Field in College Station. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Look, I don't understand all of a sudden how all these Gator fans who were done with Billy Napier, just completely over it and done, now all of a sudden after one win over Texas want to sit here and tell me and tell us and tell anybody listening that, oh yeah, I think Florida might rattle off the next 8 in a row. You know, the playoff is not out of the equation. I mean, look, the Gators have won 4 road games in 4 years, right? They still have to go to College Station. They still have to go to Ole Miss. They still have to come here to Jacksonville to play the Dogs. They're not winning the next 8 football games. In fact, I don't think they're going to win Saturday night. I think it's a tough putt to go into College Station at night and beat this Texas A&M football team. This Texas A&M football team that went into Notre Dame and beat the Irish a couple of weeks ago, this is the best A&M football team they have had in quite some time. They're in some polls in the top 5 in America. I know you're feeling pretty good about beating Texas, but keep in mind, Texas, their 3 wins over on the year were like 3 scrimmages. They were non-Power 5 wins. Their 2 losses were to Ohio State and to Florida. A&M has a much better win resume than Texas. I think A&M is a better football team than Texas. We know what Marcel Reed did to the Gators last year in the swamp at quarterback. Boy, if he has any game like that on Saturday night, yikes. And do you trust Billy Napier? Look, I was excited about Dallas Wilson, too. I was excited about Vernell Brown, and I was very excited about the way DJ Lagway played. And if, again, I think it's a gigantic if, but if Florida goes out there and they do beat Texas A&M in College Station, well, then at that point, there is a different conversation to be had on Monday. But I just don't think that's going to happen. Give me Texas A&M by 10. Give me the Aggies 30, Florida 20. Denmark, you and I will have the Gator Bites podcast tomorrow morning on the 1010XL podcast network. Where are you leaning between Texas A&M and Florida?
I think A&M wins. The only question is how much do I think they're going to win by? I mean, I was listening to Josh Pater. He was talking about, how good this defense is. And Tim Brando was talking about, you want Marcel Reed to run. He's not as much good of a thrower as he is a runner. And this A&M defense is really good. So you just wonder, how does Florida match up against A&M? A&M's only given up 1 third-down conversion in the last 2 weeks. I know one of those games was against Auburn, who doesn't have a good quarterback. But I have no idea what kind of offense Florida's going to throw out there Saturday. So with that being said, I'm going to lean Texas A&M until I see any consistency from this offense.
I mean, look, if Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown can do what they did last week and take that on the road against Texas A&M, well, then now we're talking. Now we maybe have something, but I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. So give me A&M over Florida. Quickly, boy, what a crossroads game for Florida State. I think there's going to be a lull in that stadium. You're coming off Saturday night prime time last week. Huge environment. Miami in there. Miami really pushes you around. The final score was really a lot closer than the actual game was. Now you got to come back 7 days later for a noon kick. I would imagine there'll be some empty seats at Doak Campbell, would be my guess. A noon kick against the Pitt Panthers, a Pitt Panther team that, albeit isn't very good, but just came off their best performance of the year in a win over Boston College. And it's a big game for Mike Norvell. Big game for Mike Norvell. All the goodwill that Mike Norvell got by beating Alabama, if it's not gone already after losing to Virginia and Miami in back-to-back weeks, it will be gone if they lose 3 in a row and Pitt is that third loss in a row. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll take Florida State, but this is going to be a sticky game, man. Again, noon kick, Doak Campbell coming off of that emotional game last week. It's only natural for there to be a little bit of a letdown emotionally. And if there's too much of a letdown, Pitt will jump on you, and they're the type of team that likes to run the ball and run the clock, so you got to be careful about that. I like Florida State to win, but they need to be very careful. And if Florida State doesn't win, the Mike Norvell talk will certainly heat up again. But it's a terrific Saturday of college football. You got LSU, South Carolina. You got a big one between Georgia and Auburn on the Plains. Alabama, Missouri might be the best SEC game of the week, and that's a noon kick in Columbia, Missouri. Nice game between the Crimson Tide and Missouri. And then, of course, the nightcap with Florida there and Texas A&M, 7 o'clock on ESPN. And you will also hear it right here on 1010XL. So more in the world of college football, but, of course, we're not going to get too far away from the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will head out to Seattle coming up here in just a little bit. Curtis Crabtree, Fox 13 in Seattle to give us the Seahawk perspective on this matchup Sunday. But coming up next, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. Let's talk about the trade of Tyson Campbell, the arrival of Greg Newsome. Let's review quickly the Kansas City game, and let's look ahead to a dangerous Seattle Seahawks football team coming in here. We'll do that with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. That's next on a Thursday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Open the weekend early with Pre-Game Friday.
Anything you want to add to this?
Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day.
That's all I ever think about.
Pre-Game Friday.
Built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Looking for the ultimate tailgate spot this football season? Front Runners Tap House has 20-plus televisions, including a massive 396-inch television, so you won't miss a single play. Sink your teeth into extra crispy brine wings, smash burgers, and flatbreads. Fan favorites inspired by the local. Cold beer, a full bar, and the sound always on for every big game. Bring the family and catch every touchdown at Front Runners Tap House, inside the Community First Igloo.
Joe Coward, Matt Hayes, and Leon Searcy are serving up your daily dose of sports talk specials from scratch.
I didn't know you could.
XL Primetime is driven by Duval Ford.
These are delicious.
Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron, totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Jacksonville is my hometown, and nobody knows roofing like me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We handle everything from repairs to full roof replacements, start to finish. We give honest quotes, use quality materials, and clean up like we were never there. We all look at Google reviews, so go ahead and check out ours. We're proud of all our 5-star ratings. I would say we treat you like family, but some people don't like theirs. Go to BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roof quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
Hayes Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter. And you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor, climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at AtlanticInfinity.com.
Fall is here. The air is crisp. Football is on, and the perfect backyard atmosphere starts with a high-quality fireplace from CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Hey, it's Joe C. Imagine nights by the fire, cheering on your team, surrounded by friends and family. CSS can transform your outdoor space into the ultimate game day destination. Stylish, warm, and built for memories. With several wood, gas, and electric options, let CSS make your backyard the best seat in the house. Visit CSSFireplaces.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game? When Miles Jack wasn't down? You know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. Since 1927, Coyle has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821, CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E, Jacks.com. Coyle Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Seahawks, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. First time since 2007 the Jaguars have started 4-1 or better. Let's talk about the win over Kansas City. Let's preview Seattle. And let's obviously talk about the big news, the Tyson Campbell trade, as now Greg Newsome comes to Jacksonville. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts played 7 years in the National Football League, 4 of those right here in Jacksonville. Cecil's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Cecil, how we doing, man?
I'm good, RG. I'm good, RG. How about you?
Cecil, we're good. Obviously, 4-1. We're really good here locally, and we'll talk about 4-1 in a moment. But my goodness, last night I get done with the show, I get home, and I don't know why they couldn't have done it 30 minutes prior. Would have given me a lot of material at the end of the program last night. Tyson Campbell to Cleveland, Greg Newsome to Jacksonville, a couple of late-round draft pick swaps as well. Your initial reaction to what the Jaguars did one night ago?
You know what? It seems like they're just going to continue to move and deal. And I love it. I love it because they feel like they want to continue to get better. When you look at Tyson Campbell, some people would say he was struggling. I don't know if he was the best fit for what they're doing on defense right now. Just being, I don't know if he's the best fit. He seems like he's more of a bigger man coverage. He's long in length. He's taller. He's physical. And that may fit a Jim Schwartz defense, which is what the DC for the Cleveland Browns, better than where he's at right now. It seems like the Jacksonville Jaguars run more of a zone, still ball hawking, still being aggressive, but it's more of a zone type defense. And Newsome's probably a better fit for what they're trying to do. Also, and I don't know the details of the contract, but now you offload that contract. And I'm assuming maybe you play some of it, but I'm assuming the Browns will pay most of it. So now you're giving that contract away and that opens up things for Lloyd and Walker and others that potentially will be paid by Jacksonville this particular offseason or heck, maybe even this season, the way Lloyd's playing, maybe even during the season. But it's interesting because you just paid them that much money, right? But I love the fact that Jacksonville is seeking to get better. They're not content. They understand they're 4-1, but there's some areas of growth that needs to happen. And even being 4-1 and being one of the, maybe you're the lead leaguer in turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the stats, but I'm assuming you're high up there, definitely in the top 5, that you still want to get better and that you're still looking to get better. So even though it's shocking news, I think it's a really good fit for what Newsom can do in Jacksonville. He's still young. He's 25 years old. He's a guy that battled a few injuries here and there. I think he's even nursing a small thing right now, but he's still a playmaker. And a guy that was a former first-round pick, I believe, in 21 or 22. He can make some plays, and he fits what they're doing in that secondary.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, they're 4-1. They're one of the talks of the league right now, and the GM is still making moves. What kind of message does this send to the locker room, man? It appears that they think they can compete right now.
I think it sends to the whole fan base. I think this sends to everybody that's in Jacksonville and the building, the players, the coaches, that they're trying to win right now. I think they believe they can win it right now. They're excited about what's going on, and they're looking to get better. And it's impressive because I don't think we've seen this from a Jacksonville organization in the past, that they're willing to get better, not willing to be content and sit and do whatever the case may be. They're willing to go out and say, okay, where can we improve? How can we go about this? And boom, we're going to make a move, right? So it's exciting to see. Now, it's a tough schedule coming up. It's some tough games coming up still. The AFC South, honestly, I think it's going to be a really, really tough race between the Colts, who are playing really, really well with Indiana Jones. The Texans coming along the last couple games versus some underwhelming opponents. But it should be a good fight between those three for the AFC South. So them trying to get better, but them being Jacksonville, is extremely important to win this division and try to make a playoff run.
Let's go back to Monday night. I know you and I were texting during the game. And look, adversity, right? Liam Cohen's message is, how will this team respond to adversity? Well, you fumble the ball at the 3-inch line, basically. The referees give you the absolute business on a non-pass interference call that I thought was ridiculous that Kansas City scored off of. Mahomes does his thing and leads a drive down to take the lead with 1:45 to go. And despite all of that, Jacksonville finds a way to win the game with the offense having a game-winning drive of their own. What did you take away from Monday night?
You know what? Me and you talked about Trevor Lawrence in the offseason. And we talked about, in my opinion, this is a big year for him. You're a new head coach, a new GM. Their eyes on you. You were paid. You were number 1 overall pick. You have to show up. You have to go out there and prove that you're the franchise guy. And I feel like Monday night in front of the whole world, he did that. In the biggest moment of the game, that go route he threw to BTJ. Now, BTJ's been struggling. He's been mentally out of it. He's been dropping some passes earlier in the year. For him to make that throw in between that safety and corner, and he couldn't have dropped it nowhere else, RG, nowhere else. It was a big-time throw. The clutchest throw I've seen from Trevor Lawrence. And for BTJ to hold on to it and be there and catch that ball and be the guy we all know he can be, that was a big moment, not only for Trevor, not only for BTJ as an individual, for that offense, for that fan base, for that culture, what they're building there. That was huge. And then to continue that drive down the field and to draw the play up. It was a great play by Cohen. Draw the play where he falls on purpose, gets up, falls again, gets up, stumbles, and score. I mean, who draws stuff up like that, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But I'll tell you this, though. It also shows how much time he had to do all that. The offensive line was blocking their tails off. Now, at the same time, we do know some guys stopped, right? Because they saw the fall. But at the same time, he had time to get up and get back down a couple times. Like, this offense is growing. This offense is getting better. But for me, the biggest takeaway is Trevor Lawrence stepped up in a big, big moment and showed, hey, I can be this franchise guy that everybody thought I would be coming out of Clemson. That was a huge moment for him, his confidence, that team, and it just shows a lot that Cohen and whoever else is in that building are doing a heck of a job of changing that culture there.
And to that point, you led me right into it. Cecil, they've won back-to-back-to-back games against the Texans, 49ers, and Chiefs. They're not exactly beating the Saints, Jets, and Titans here. I mean, Houston, San Francisco, Kansas City. Keep in mind, the reason Cohen is here is this team had lost 18 of the previous 23 games prior to Cohen's arrival. And in 5 weeks, they're the talk of the NFL. I mean, how has Cohen done this to this point?
He's a culture changer right now, man, and he's coming in, and you know what it is. If you look at um, the Detroit Lions, what's the head coach for Detroit Lions name? Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. Yep.
His interview, his first interview was the weirdest interview ever. Talking about biting kneecaps, right? Then you look at Cohen. He's talking about Duval, right? This just all off. Those guys that do that build good coaches. but what he's doing is getting the guys to believe in themselves. He's getting the guys to buy into what he's saying, but also believe in themselves. Guys like BTJ, guys like Trevor Parker Washington, guys like Devin Lloyd, guys like this, all guys that are making plays right now. Trevor Lawrence, they're getting guys to believe in themselves and buy into what's going on. I'm telling you, the more you win, the more guys believe in what you have, and something special is brewing. And it seems like right now, when you beat those good teams, because like you said, you weren't beating the Saints, you weren't beating the Titans. You're beating 3 solid teams, 3 teams that were supposed to be in the playoff run and fighting to go deep in the playoffs, and you beat 3 in a row of them. And you got another one coming up this upcoming week. This is something that you're really brewing up something special that they can continue this run.
Final moments with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, I was in the locker room yesterday, and they're saying all the right things, and I'm just curious. You could tell the guys have a chip on their shoulder at the beginning of the year. You could tell that there were a lot of guys in there that were told they're not good enough, or why are the Jaguars signing this free agent or this late-round draft pick. There's a chip. I like the chip that's on the shoulder there, but I think they use that, and now all of a sudden, nationally, they're getting a lot more love. People are talking about Jacksonville. Is there a concern, and you're a great person to ask, you've been in many NFL locker rooms, is there a concern that success could go to their head? How do they keep their edge?
No. Well, there always is a small concern, but the way they're going right now, and the way that, I mean, your GM just made a trade after you won a big game on Monday night. So if you're going to let success get to your head, and as an individual, you're not going to play well, there's a chance you might not be here, right? So I think that's another message that's being sent. If you're not going to play well up to the standard of what we're trying to do right now, we will get rid of you and bring somebody else in. So I think at the same time as they're making moves to get better, they're keeping everybody humble, and they understand this to get where we're trying to get to is going to take tons of work, and we're not there yet. It's just the first part of the season. And this is going to say a lot too about how Cohen deals with the ups and downs of the NFL, right? The first quarter of the season, 4-1, doing outstanding. How can he handle the second quarter now? How can he handle a little more adversity? How can he handle the third quarter? Like, so it speaks a lot to what they have going on right now, but we're going to watch the head coach and how can he help this team continue to ascend and navigate the good and bad of the NFL.
Cecil, as we wrap up, we mentioned Houston, San Francisco, Kansas City. Next week, they go to London, and they're playing Cohen and Gladstone's former team in the L.A. Rams. That'll get a ton of attention. And sandwiched right here in the middle is the Seattle Seahawks game. If you look up in the dictionary, a down game that a team's going to play, it would be this one. Now, Seattle does have to travel like 3,000 miles. It's going to be a 10 a.m. game for them here on the East Coast, which is something to take into account. But how on earth, after that victory on Monday night, that emotional ending, does Jacksonville center themselves on a short week to get ready for this Seahawk football team on Sunday?
Ooh, you got to keep the main thing, right? And that's the next game. So you got to, number one, take care of your bodies, make sure you're healthy, make sure you're doing your recovery, and make sure you're on top of things. The good thing about it is Seattle's coming to you, so you don't have to travel after a short week. But again, this falls on the head coach. What can he do? What will he do practice-wise? What will he do preparation-wise? How will he talk to the guys to get them ready to go? Now, I'll be honest with you, when you're 4-1 in this position, you're fired up. You want to play again because people, they're on your tail. They're talking about how good you are, but also there's still doubters out there. And I think, like you said, they have that chip on their shoulder that they want to go out there and prove that, hey, we're the real freaking deal. So I'm excited to see what they can do when it comes to Seattle and then the rest of the season. But it's on the head coach and the players to make that decision that we're going to still stay dialed in and continue to prove that, we're going to live up to this standard.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, leave us with this. You're out in Houston. You're also a former Texan. Have the waters calmed out there? Do they think they found themselves with this 2-game winning streak?
You know what? It's a mixed bag because you played the Titans and you won, and then you played a beat-up Ravens team, right? The defense has been playing outstanding all year. It's just a matter of the offense. And a lot of people feel like the offense is coming along at the right time. Some people wish their bye week wasn't this week because they have an early bye week, week 5 or week 6, I believe. But things are on the up and up. And that's why I think this race in the AFC South is going to get interesting, because you have a really competitive team in Houston. If their offense gets going, their defense is playing outstanding. They can compete against the Colts and Jacksonville, who's both teams, I believe, are 4-1. And then you got a 2-3 team. This is going to be a fun race. This can be one of the more competitive divisions in the NFL if it keeps it up. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, people thought the AFC South might be the worst division in football coming into the year. That certainly does not now appear to be the case. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Short. Cecil, enjoy all the action this weekend, and we'll talk next week and preview London as it's the Rams and the Jaguars over at Wembley Stadium. Thank you, my friend.
Hey, sounds good, bud. Take care.
Florida Gators football. Gators! The Gators bring swamp style to the Lone Star State.
Pulls loose at the 38. Gators got it.
Florida, Texas A&M, Saturday at 7 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010 XL.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
Kuhn Flowers announces their home holiday decorating team is now taking orders for the holiday season. This is Max with 1010XL. No more hassling with tree buying, untangling, and hanging burned out lights. Call Kuhn Flowers. They'll do it all.
Jacksonville, you voted, and Baker Glass came out on top. The Bold City Best Awards are all about locals choosing their favorites, and you picked them for Best Auto Glass and Best Glass and Mirror Service.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Celebrating 30 years in Jack's Beach. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn is your go-to for cash on the spot. They buy gold. Huge sale on firearms all month. Save during Florida's Second Amendment sales tax holiday with no sales tax on firearms. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach.
Early detection saves lives. This month, join Ackerman Cancer Center to go light blue and take action with prostate screening and their expert guidance. Book your screening consult and experience the Ackerman Advantage at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Seahawks and the Jaguars, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL, and what all of a sudden is a really big game in the National Football League. The 3-2 Seahawks and the now 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get the Seattle side of this matchup on Sunday. Curtis Crabtree, Fox 13 in Seattle, is our guy when it comes to the Seahawks, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Curtis, how we doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
Hey, Curtis, good, man. Appreciate the time as always. All right, 3-2 for the Seahawks. 5 games in. They had one of the more entertaining games, really, of the entire season last week. Unfortunately, a last-second loss to Tampa. But overall, before we really dive in, how would you assess the Seahawks 5 weeks into the year?
I think their highs have been exceptionally good through 5 weeks, and, it's still just not quite as consistent to get, maybe that extra win on the ledger over that stretch, because they definitely could have won the San Francisco game in week 1, definitely could have won the Tampa game here on Sunday, but a couple things went against them to where they had those results go the wrong way. And I think the thing I didn't quite anticipate was Sam Darnold being this good for them through 5 weeks. He's been terrific. The game he played Sunday against Tampa was tremendous. The offense seems to be rounding into form a little bit. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been tremendous as a number 1 receiving option for them. The tight ends have factored in a little bit with A.J. Barner having, I think it's 4 or 5 touchdown catches now on the season already. So it's been a really interesting group to kind of see progress. And unfortunately, with some injuries on the defensive side of the ball, they just were not able to keep Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers out of the end zone there late for a good chunk of that game on Sunday.
Curtis Crabtree, Fox 13 in Seattle, with us here on 1010XL Radio in Jacksonville. You mentioned Sam Darnold. That's certainly an interesting subplot this week because he's going up against, in a way, Grant Udinski. They were together last year in Minnesota. Obviously, Udinski now the OC here in Jacksonville. Darnold, the starting quarterback in Seattle. That'll be an interesting chess match between the two coaching staffs. But Sam Darnold, as you said, very pleasant surprise 5 weeks in.
Yeah, I think we knew from the year he played in Minnesota last year that there's a player there. Like he, having gotten this other opportunity, just like we saw with Geno Smith here in Seattle for a couple years, and some other guys around the league, getting that Baker and Tampa, getting those second chances. Like there's a player there, and going 14-3 was no joke. But even still, I think he's maybe even taken his game up another half level here in Seattle through 5 games. Maybe, not leading the passing, the kind of the old school passing categories just yet, but his efficiency has been off the charts. Making just about every throw you need him to make. Some of the off-platform kind of moving, out of the pocket, kind of creating plays on the move kind of things were something maybe I didn't expect to see quite to the clip he's been able to do so far. So, yeah, given the struggles of Geno in Vegas and the fact that they're paying Sam Darnold less to be here and got a draft pick in return for that whole trade, yeah, that looks like a pretty terrific, shrewd move there by John Schneider to pivot on the quarterback position once again.
You mentioned Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, that guy, you knew when they released Tyler Lockett and they traded DK Metcalf, it was going to be JSN's world out there at the wide receiver position. And man alive, has he come on unbelievably well so far.
Yeah, I think going into the season, I had said that there may be no single more indispensable player on their roster than Jackson. That's not saying he's necessarily the best, though he's trying to make an argument for that here. Just like if he wasn't there, I think the rest of the group looks, far less as a collective without him at the top of that depth chart. But with him, yeah, he's been fantastic. Really good through 5 games. Looking every bit capable of being able to carry the receiving load for a team and hold up and produce and all of those sorts of things. And it looked like that was possible during training camp in the offseason. He looked like he was about ready to take another leap forward, and boy, has he. He's been phenomenal through 5 games and looks like every bit like both him and Puka Nacua out here in the West have been off to fantastic starts to the season and taking advantage of a couple, the injuries and injured quarterback situations to some of the other kind of name brand receivers across the league.
Curtis Crabtree is our guy when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. He's with Fox 13 in Seattle, and he joins us here on 1010XL as the Seahawks and the Jaguars, Sunday, 1 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL Radio. Seattle also, Curtis, has one of the best 1-2 combos at running back in the league. Let's talk about Walker and Charbonnet a little bit and how they've performed so far.
Yeah, I think both of them have been good in stretches. They both have their, strengths and weaknesses. Ken's got, more of that slash and dash kind of ability and the ability to make somebody miss in space and try to bounce runs and make the big play out of something, where Charbonnet is a little bit more of a one cut and go kind of runner. And sometimes it just is kind of matchup dependent, which one kind of works better on a given week. But they, when they've had their opportunities, they found a little bit of success. I know early, the first couple weeks, they're still trying to grind out some of their running game issues early on. Charbonnet was hurt for a stretch in there, which didn't help that fact as much. But Charbonnet down near the goal line has been pretty effective. Walker has been a little bit cleaner the last couple weeks, not having runs bounce backward and losing some ground in moments. I think that's kind of one Achilles heel that he has from time to time. But I think as a unit, they still are trying to find footing a little bit more, because I don't think it's all kind of married together just as well as they want to see it yet. But they are still much more committed to the ground game than maybe the offenses of the last few seasons have been here in Seattle.
You mentioned the defense. Obviously, McDonald, the coach out there, is known for defense. Not a great defensive effort last week. How has the Seahawks defense been as a whole so far?
It was really, really good for the most part through 4 games. And by the end of the game on Sunday, they were down 5 defensive starters, and it showed. McDonald was really lamenting their tackling in this game on Sunday, that particularly in space, that they really struggled and had too many guys, I think, lunging for tackles and not being sound in their technique in that regard. I think they're going to try to drill the heck out of that this week to try to get back to center there. But with, 2, edge guys and DeMarcus Lawrence and Derek Hall being out by the end of the game, 3 secondary pieces and big ones for them too. Basically their top 3 secondary guys heading into the season, and Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, and Julian Love. That's a lot to kind of survive against an offense in the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield that's rolling the way it is right now. And so I think that pretty clearly showed up. And then even still, Sam Darnold had him in a position to win until he had a pass go off a helmet and deflect for an interception there in the closing moments to kind of set up the game-winning field goal for Tampa. So I'm sure Mike's going to, lose some sleep this week about trying to get the defense back on track and everything, but I'm certainly not shocked with where they were at injury-wise by the end of that game, that they weren't able to keep that Buccaneers offense in check.
Still relatively early in the week, but what about those injuries, those 5 guys you mentioned? What do you think their status will be for Sunday?
Woolen's purely going to be, can he clear concussion protocol? They're going to be relatively optimistic about that now. They called Derek Hall's oblique injury a week-to-week thing. So not IR, but it certainly doesn't seem like he's available for this week. DeMarcus Lawrence and Devin Witherspoon are going to try to get back into practice midweek, Wednesday, Thursday time. And Julian Love's got a hamstring issue that's, a little bit more iffy on that front. So I think it seems like, maybe 2 of those 5 guys can have a chance. I should say 3 of the 5 have a chance to play this week. It seems like Love and Derek Hall are not likely to happen at this point. So kind of iffy on those other 3, but those 2 guys I think are trending towards being out again this week.
Seahawks a little bit banged up. It's going to be an interesting dynamic because, look, Jacksonville just had an unbelievably emotional game on Monday night over Kansas City. They got a little banged up. They at least are at home, but they're on a short week. Seattle, regular week, but they have to travel 3,000 miles. I mean, what is the thought early on about coming to Jacksonville to play the 4-1 Jaguars?
Well, the Seahawks have been a way better road team under Mike McDonald anyway. So it's probably kind of playing into their wheelhouse a little bit. I mean, they've actually been a really good road team for a long time now. They travel early the extra day and have for years. They fly out on Friday for games beyond like one time zone heading east and make it into a 2-day trip. And they've done really, really well with that through the end of Pete Carroll's whole tenure here. And McDonald's taken it and run with it because why not, as good as it was working beforehand. And yeah, they have a far better road record than they have at home in McDonald's, season and change here. And so I don't think they're going to feel, badly about going on the road and worrying about that environment or anything in that regard. But that is a Jacksonville team that should feel pretty good about where they're at coming into the year and getting a win that they did last night. And I'm still kind of marveling at that Trevor Lawrence play and how he found a way to get in the end zone to win that game for them. So Jaguars should feel good about it, but I don't think the Seahawks are worried about the road aspect of it.
Curtis, final question. Boy, that's a really interesting division. San Francisco is really good, and they've been injured. They're starting to get some guys back. The Rams obviously are good. You guys are good. In Arizona, you could argue, could be 5-0 if they knew what they were doing in the final 2 minutes of any of these last 3 games. I mean, how do you see the NFC West shaking out as the season goes on?
I'm just never going to trust Arizona with Kyler Murray at quarterback. I just don't see it. I've watched enough of those games that, they're good enough to be good enough, and then they just can't ever get to where they want to go. The 49ers, I just don't trust them. With as old and banged up as that team is, I just don't think that, outside of the fact that they're scheduled the last 5 weeks of the season is as easy as any schedule as I've ever seen. It's really tough to look at them and think that they're a true contender at the end of the day outside of that factor. But they've got a head start, and that schedule does exist there, so they could still very well be a playoff team out of it. I just, with Trent Williams kind of losing a step and Purdy being hurt and Mac Jones being hurt and, Bosa out for the year, Kittle banged up in the first game here against Seattle. Like that's their big name players that are banged up. The Rams, same thing. Like Rams look good as long as Matthew Stafford stays at the front of that team, and who knows because of his injuries that he's dealing with. So Puka Nacua has been phenomenal, just as good as any receiver ever with the first 5 weeks of the season. It's a really intriguing division, and I don't know quite what to make of it just yet. But other than Arizona, won't be in the conversation just because don't trust them. Never trust Arizona. They're just never going to be there.
Curtis, I know you're busy. I really appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the way, and we'll talk soon, pal.
Thanks, man. No problem. See ya.
And thank you to Curtis Crabtree, Fox 13 in Seattle. Curtis has been my guy when it comes to the Seahawks for many, many years, and appreciate him joining us this evening to give us the Seahawks side of this matchup on Sunday. Again, the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks, the 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars, and what all of a sudden is a very, very big game here in Week 6 of the National Football League. So we certainly spent a ton of time on that, as you can imagine. Look, my thoughts on the game are like I shared with you back in hour number 1. If you look up trap game or a downfall game or whatever verbiage you want to use, the Jaguars are coming off back-to-back-to-back wins over the Texans, the 49ers, the Chiefs. Next week, they're in London playing Cohen and Gladstone's former team in the Rams and Sean McVay. And sandwiched right here in the middle is this Seattle game. Now, the Seahawks do have to travel thousands of miles here to Jacksonville, which will certainly help. But I got to tell you, before the Tyson Campbell trade, I was all set to pick Seattle. I really was. But you want to talk about an attention grabber, not only for the fan base and the media, but in that locker room. The win-now mentality, the win-now environment to trade Tyson Campbell on the Wednesday, 48 hours after the victory over Kansas City, 4 days before the game against Seattle. The message that sends to those players that they are about winning now. I'm going to pick Jacksonville to win the game. Again, I thought I was picking Seattle up until last night. I'm going to pick Jacksonville, even though I think it is a classic downfall game where emotions were so high on Monday and you got to come right back 6 days later. Give me Jacksonville 23, Seattle 20. And I can't even believe I'm saying this, but if that does happen, the Jaguars will go to 5-1 on the year. And what a crazy, crazy start that would be to this 2025 NFL football season. Well, that will just about do it, man. We have been insanely busy tonight, a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Curtis Crabtree, Fox 13 in Seattle. Always appreciate his perspective as the Seahawks come in. Thank you to Scott Petrak, brownzone.com, as we talked all things Greg Newsome, the newest Jacksonville Jaguar. Appreciate Scott joining us this evening. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts stop by. I get Cecil weekly here on Hacker After Dark, and always love talking NFL and Jaguar football with Cecil Shorts. And Mike Giannetti, the co-founder of Spot Track, joins us as well as we went over the numbers. What does the Campbell trade mean for the Jaguar salary cap moving forward? Does it allow for a re-signing of Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne? What does it mean for a Trayvon Walker extension? What does it mean for a Greg Newsome